Professor Milena Blagojevic is architect and professor of architectural design and interior design at LABA Firenze University, and master in interior design University of Firenze. Active member of CSDU, International Center for Studies on Urban Design since 2017, and of ASHRAE, American Society of Heating, Refrigerating and Air Conditioning Engineers since 2009. Licensed architect with the Order of Architects of Florence since 2008. Mrs. Milena, we're waiting to hear your speech.
Good day, everyone. I would say now for something completely different, since we were talking about which we must eventually do. We must control and decrease the pathogens in the air and on the surfaces, but maybe we can do something also to increase the resistance of human beings for those pathogens. So today I'm going to speak about a little bit of what can we do to add some value also from the energetic point of view to the aesthetics and to all of those problems that architects usually create when we are talking about energy efficiency and energy efficient refurbishments and building new facilities. I'm bringing here just a small sketch drawing from a very famous architect, interior designer, Alessandro Bendini, which is explaining how our profession is eventually a collage of different professions and different skills that we need to acquire during our studies and eventually professional activities in our career in order to move forward. So saying I'm not an architect, I'm a dragon because I have to have different parts of my being that are poets, engineers, project managers, and so on and so forth. So we are gathered here today on this island, and we are participating on the first and hopefully of many gatherings like this, conferences that is called HYGEIA. And I'm going to spend 1 minute just to remember all these, let's say, lines that connect HYGEIA and Venus. And although they belong to different pantheons, one is Greek pantheon and the other one is Roman pantheon, they are they have more different similarities. And this is a statue of both of them. It is called Venus HYGEIA, and it comes from an unknown artist in actually this part of the world. And it is stored in the Getty Villa in Malibu. And it merges two goddesses. One is the goddess of love, beauty, and fertility, and the other one is the goddess of cleanliness, health, and the prevention of illness. And I want to underline the prevention of illness as the third, let's say, word we have in the definition, together with the beauty, which becomes which merges with Venus. So, since I'm going to talk about the beauty, I'm going to talk about Venusness, and just to remember that this is something, beauty has a very important value, energetically speaking, is not something that is a new concept, but it is a concept that belongs to the humankind for a couple of thousands of years. From Vitruvius, he defined architecture in the triad of for the architecture. So we have Firenitas, Utilitas, and Venustas, and Venustas means of goddess Venus. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how to analyze the Venustas in two different terms. One is pulchra and the other one is ornamentum. Just since I strongly believe that we are made of words, and the words define concepts and define our culture and how we live our lives and our cultures. Starting from the 1st century BC, the Firenitas, Utilitas, and Venustas changed over time the wording and also their significance. So, for example, in Palladio in the 16th century, it becomes useful, perpetuous, and beauty. In the Botton's translation of Elements of Architecture of Vittorius Ditt in 1624 becomes firmness, commodity, and delight from light. In the late 17th century, there is a small accent on the form of beauty, a very short life attention, and from the mid-19th century, it becomes structural integrity, utility, and attractiveness, which is a word I don't appreciate very much because it is, as somebody says it, if we cannot measure it, we cannot manage it, and attractiveness is not measurable at all. So, coming back to the measurables, we are defining, and we were talking in the past years a lot about first indoor air quality and then indoor environmental quality. So, acoustic comfort, thermal comfort, light comfort, and all the very much measurable data. And something that maybe we are missing is the spatial comfort, chromatic value, color comfort, privacy, and furniture ergonomics, since we want to talk about indoor environmental quality. So I'm going to address first the first one, the spatial comfort. If you remember a few moments ago, I told you that I'm going to talk about Venustas in two terms, pulchritudo and ornamentum. Pulchritudo is the beauty of proportions. So the spatial comfort comes from the harmonic proportional spaces. And here is one of the frescoes in Santo Ruticelli in Ognissanti Church in Florence. And it's a portrait of Sant Agostino. And Sant Agostino defined the so-called pulchritudo Dei, divine beauty, conceived as a source of order that is not easily mutable in time and space, and the proportion and harmony in spatial compositions. So, the proportion in architecture is something that was discussed from different thousands of years, but it is basically a relation between dimension that we have in a space and the relation between the elements due to the whole. So if you are today in a hall like this, in a venue like this, it is because somebody drew the proportion and said it is a harmonical proportion, and then we can, after that, it was the way it was done, add HVAC, we can add other layers in order to make this space up to the use it has to meet. The spatial principles of the harmonical proportions can be and were through the history defined in three different proportion sources: harmonic proportion, sezione aurea, or divine proportion, and modulo, human proportion. So what is a harmonic proportion? From Pythagoreans the harmonic proportion was mathematics. So mathematics and music. We put in relation harmonically dimensions of the space. So we have the wideness, the lengthness, and the height of the space, ordering them by mathematical proportions, 1 to 2, 3 to 4, which are equivalent to the harmonical music proportions, so do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, and all of the, if you take, a chord and put on 1/7, and then we hear the noise, so we have mathematical musical proportions. This was later taken by Palladio. Why am I saying taking Palladio and the 15th, the 16th century, talking about that? Because at that moment we were also expecting the Renaissance, so the humankind was in a little bit of dark period for many centuries, and that dark period brought to the Renaissance, and we want to understand if there is something that we can learn from history or not. Then we have another proportion, which is sezione aurea, or so-called golden ratio, which is a divine proportion, which is very much mathematic and very much present in the nature, that it is why it's called the divine, and has nothing divine in it. It's very much nature and mathematics. So there is an irrational algebraic number, and known from Babylonian time and ancient Egypt through Fibonacci and through everything we see and perceive in the nature also around us. And then there is modulo, a proportional system based on the human measurement. So we all remember the Vitruvian Man, drawn by Da Vinci, which of course addresses to Vitruvius, and as we said, that defined those, the triade of architecture. And basically the human dimensions rather than divine dimension, we should construct our world around us. The other part of spatial comfort, so we had pulchra, which is the beauty of proportions. The other part is ornamentum, which is auxiliary brightness, light, so color. Also, this one is very measurable and very much studied with the period of color, starting from even before, but the ones that I found, Newton in 1704, and then moving through different chemists and scientists, and as we saw a few seconds ago, still studying the light, not only as a source of color or the source that we have from the sun, but the very important presence and parameter that we need to use in order to have the spatial comfort. So last year, during the undergraduate course that I had for interior design, there in the second or the third year of undergraduate, we did a small theoretical study on, there was a refurbishment of a care residence in Florence. We are in the center of Florence. This that you see on the first picture is Piazza dell'Indipendenza, which is very much at the center of Florence. And we have an angular building that is circled in red. And it is late, so it's mid-19th century building, late 18th, mid-19th century building. So the existing building is pretty much like this. The exercise we did was to, without doing the major refurbishment, just intervening in the interior design, because it is a course of interior design. What can we do to improve and how, from a plethora of seemingly very similar solutions that can be ideated by different students. What can be a good direction, and what can we do aimingly to propose solutions to support the health of the people in this care facility. It's a children's care facility. We discussed about the environmental psychology and the impact on indoor spatial comfort. So the spatial comfort remains one of interesting things maybe to address a little bit more in the future. So people have complex needs in spaces they spend time, including desire for comfort, safety, social interaction, and privacy. Therefore, there is the need to consider three fundamental factors: spatial cognition, emotional responses, and behavior. All of this in order to support our reactions to the pathogens. So not only to decrease the amount of the pathogens and control them, but also to support the human being and to increase the reaction of the human being to these pathogens. To prevent, so the goddess of prevention, HYGEIA. So we did a color study. We have warm colors, cool colors, neutral tones. I'm not going to go through them because, of course, there are much more scientifically with the data and other professionals. Yeah. So I'm not going to go through them, but neutral colors suitable for service areas, cool colors appropriate for bedrooms and staff rooms, and warm colors that give energy. Common areas with dialogues, conviviality are encouraged. I'm going to run through some of the renderings made by students with different color patterns and the rooms that were in this care facility, some of the service rooms, some of the normal rooms. With the study, we did study the surfaces also, because when you do the interior design refurbishment, you can change the cladding, you can change the colors on the walls, you can add illumination, so lighting fixtures. So I'm going, just since there is not much time, run through this. So what is the next goal? What about the energetic value of the beauty? This is a picture of, and I'll take 1 minute to tell the story. As a professional, we finished the refurbishment of an estate in Verona. It's a luxury refurbishment for a very nice apartment, and our client was very happy with the outcome of this, and he asked us, I'm very sensible to any kind of temperature variations. If the temperature goes down by half degree, I get sick immediately. I am very sensible about my health. What have you implemented in this apartment? Because it's been months that I live here, and fan coils are not always the best, but I'm not getting sick. So we did not put anything very particular in this refurbishment. We did it with heat pumps and fan coils and other for heating. Nothing special at all. The special was the estate. So what was the value of this apartment, of this project, is the project itself, the architectonical. So when you are in a harmonic and beautiful space, you need less, turning up and down of the heat or the light or the dimming. So you use less energy. And on the other side, when you are in a poorly designed space, from the architectonical point of view, you need more comfort. You need to turn the light up and down. You need to turn the AC up and down, to turn the heating up and down, because you're not feeling comfortable. So you are using more energy. On the other hand, we are here in the island of Kos, and we are not in, industrial area of an unknown city together. So our emotional and psychological states, together with our health state, contributes to how we perceive the thermal, acoustic, and visual comfort. Beautiful spaces contribute to energy efficiency of the buildings by contributing to the well-being of the people that use those buildings. So we have the subjectivity of the perception, because the perception is very subjective, with the objectivity of the discomfort, because discomfort is very objective. And on the other hand, we have the objectivity of the energy usage that we can use, and the subjectivity of the comfort. So to come back again to what was already said by many before me, the environmental quality as how is defined at the moment, together with architectural determinants of well-being, therefore appear to be correlated by one-to-one inextricable correspondence. Within this challenge, a necessarily interdisciplinarity perspective emerges, with health as the central meta-determinant connecting different design disciplines. Beauty, cultural heritage, and aesthetic dimension actually is an energy and health parameter. Just going back to the health as a meta-determinant, which is quite important, and this is why we are all here, and I think we need to grow everybody in the same direction in order to cross the sea. Thank you.